Welcome back to Europe in an Italian Minute, a regular commentary on Europe and Italy and the strange relationship between these two partners. Today's topic is one of the two big crises that Europe is facing. One is the economic crisis, and Italy is very central to that one, and we'll have plenty of opportunity to talk about that. The other one is obviously the crisis in the Ukraine. And here again, Italy is at the center of the crisis and at the center of any solution. There's been much talk of Italy's ambivalent position with respect to taking a hard line with Russia and with what Europe's response should be. What we want to talk about today are basically two things. Where does this ambivalent position come from, and what does it mean for Europe, and what does it mean for Italy's position within Europe? Italy's relationship with Russia is a mixture, and has always been a mixture, of its idealism in foreign policy and its idealism about Europe and the world, and a hard-nosed, almost cynical realism. The ideas come from a number of different places that create lots of tensions. There's not a pro-Russia, but there's a certain sympathy for Russia and historically the Soviet Union that comes from a couple of sources. On the left, obviously, Italy's long-standing Communist Party throughout the post-war period had part of its leadership that spent time in the Soviet Union, so there's lingering effects of some kind of ideological or cultural affinity with Russia. On top of that, there's a sort of anti-Americanism that sees Russia as the counterbalance, or part of a counterbalance, to American hegemony in international politics. More recently, we have populist parties in Italy who also look to Putin as the kind of cultural response to changes that, that parts of, especially on the right in Italy, changes in society on issues of immigration, on questions of the family, have a hard time accepting and see in Putin a possible fellow traveler. So that's the idealism, that's where the ideas come from. But there's also ideas about Italy's very strong Europeanism and its strong tradition of Atlanticism. So there's the ambivalence comes between wanting to be seen as a good European and a good Atlantic partner, and at the same time some kind of sympathy towards Russia. The realism is that Italy's real geostrategic interests are not in the Ukraine, they're not in Central Europe, they're not in Eastern Europe. Italy's geostrategic interests are on its southern flank. And with the Middle East boiling over, Russia could be an important ally in places like Syria and so on. What does this mean for Italy and Europe? It makes it hard for Italy to play its traditional role as mediator between European partners, mediator between European partners and Russia, mediators between European partners and the United States. These kinds of black and white situations where the decision is either to take a hard line, continue sanctions, strengthen sanctions, or not, place Italy in a difficult position. And this might explain why, at the same time, it's talking the talk of supporting Ukraine's sovereignty and not possibly taking a hard line, but at the same time trying to work to make sure that perhaps the sanctions are loosened. The other important sort of hard-nosed issue is the economic interest. Italy is Russia's second most important trading partner in the EU. So there's lots of economic interests at play, from tourism to luxury goods. So Italy's ambivalent position is likely to continue, and this is likely to cause problems for it within the European Union.